Running your own online e-commerce business is absolutely amazing. You get to work for yourself, you get to do whatever you want, you get the freedom, and of course you get to make lots of money along the way. But with all great things, there is always a downside, and for this one, I think most people can agree is going to be accounting. God, I hate that word. Anyways, what I have decided to do in this video is give you my top 6 tips that I've taken on board over the past 3 years accounting for my own online e-commerce business, and I think these tips can really help you, number one, save time, and number two, save a lot of stress when it actually comes to accounting for your business. Now, of course, one thing I do have to say, and this goes without really saying, is number one, I am not an accountant, and number two, I do not have any accountancy certificates or degrees or anything like that. These are just tips that I have personally taken on board for my own business, and they have really helped me out along the way, so make sure you take that on board when you are watching this video. One thing I have done though is passed all of these tips through my own personal accountant, who I will be mentioning later on in this video. But having said all that, I'm going to get straight into it now. The only thing I really do ask you guys to do is to hit that like button, because it does really help this YouTube video out. And number two, I am not going to enjoy making this video. It's not the exciting video that I look forward to. I'm just trying to bring you guys some value. So enough waffling from me. Let's get into it. Okay, so the number one thing you should be doing before you do anything else, and this is my first tip, and that is creating a separate bank account for your business and keeping it completely separate from your personal accounts. The reason why I say this is because it just makes things so much easier. When I told my personal accountant that I have now separated my business from my personal account, he told me that was like music to his ears. This way he doesn't have to go through all my personal spending and business spending. Everything on the business card is directed towards my business. So number one, you need to be setting up a business bank account. A couple of the bank accounts I really recommend, the ones that I use, is I use Starling for business, and I've also used Monzo for business as well. These are completely free bank accounts that you can set up on your phone, and you will have your bank account set up within the first day, and you'll get your card about 3 days later as well. So make sure, number one, you set up your own business account and keep it completely separated from your personal spendings. Once you have got that bank account all set up, it's time to move on to tip number two, and that is to definitely look into online accounting softwares. These will make your days so much easier, save you so much time, guys. When I first started out, I did everything on an Excel spreadsheet. I tracked all my incomings and outgoings, and it took so long until I signed up for an online accounting software where you can basically just link your bank account to that software, and then all you have to do from there is upload your receipts and reconcile. Just go through it once a week and sort things out that way, and it's just so quick. The software that I personally use is Xero, but I also do recommend QuickBooks, and one of the really good things about Xero is what you can do is actually set up rules. And the reason why setting up rules is really good and powerful on these softwares is, let's say I am sourcing my products from a certain supplier, I can actually set up a rule that every time that the accounting software recognizes that supplier's name, it can reconcile it automatically for me, and I don't even need to go into it and do it manually. So it's really going to save you a lot of time. But yeah, tip number two, make sure you look at accounting softwares. I'll leave a link to both of those in the description below. I'm not an affiliate for them or anything like that. They're just really good softwares. Okay, so tip number three, and this one really did take me quite a while to actually get my head around, so I'm going to try and explain it as well as possible, and that is understanding cost of goods sold. Now, when I first started out with my e-commerce business, the biggest mistake when it came to accounting for me was that I thought that buying stock was classed as an expense. Now, this is completely untrue. When you buy stock for your business, it is actually classed as an asset, and it is only classed as an expense when you have actually sold that piece of inventory, and this is called cost of goods sold. What I will do is throw up an explanation from an official source on the screen, just in case I haven't explained that well for you guys. But yeah, that's the basics of it, and the thing that I really needed to get my head around, I thought my stock was an expense, and basically I thought I could buy loads loads of stock and then I wouldn't have to pay any tax or anything like that. That is completely untrue. A stock is an asset to your business, not an expense. An expense would be something like your petrol costs or your electricity bill for your reselling unit. Tip number 4, and this one's so important, guys, and that is to keep a backup of all your receipts and invoices over the last 5 years. Now, the reason why I said 5 years is because HMRC advise 5 years in the UK. You'll have to check if you are in a different country what they advise, but for me, it is 5 years. All I simply do is buy a Filofax for my physical receipts. I'll leave a link to the Filofax kind of receipt organizer thing that I use in the description below. And then what I do with my online invoices, I actually create a Google Drive kind of folder system, and I will once again show this on the screen to keep all of my online invoices in check. And like I said, after 5 years you can then replace it. So what you probably need to do is buy a Filofax every single year, and then once you've got to 5 years you can then start emptying the oldest one or something like that, just so you haven't got to keep purchasing them. But yeah, the number one thing is you definitely need to keep a backup of all your receipts, no matter even if you have uploaded them to an accounting software or something like that. I personally like to definitely keep them, because there's things like such as Amazon contacting you to provide proof of purchase and stuff like that. It's always good to have that receipt on hand. So that's tip number 4, keep a backup of all your receipts. The next tip I want to share with you guys is to make sure that you do not let your accounting slip. Now, the reason why I say this is because nobody likes accounting. I said it at the start of the video, I absolutely hate accounting, but one thing that I did at the start of the business was I just let it take a back seat for months on end, and then when I actually came to doing my accounting, I got myself so overwhelmed because I had so much to do, and it took almost a whole week just to reconcile my accounts, and my business wasn't even that big at the time. It's not even that big now, but what I'm trying to say is definitely keep up with your accounts. One thing that I personally do is I actually schedule in 1 to 2 hours every single week, maybe first thing in the morning, just to go through your receipts for that week, just to make sure that you are up to date and just staying ahead of the game. And I really cannot stress how powerful doing this actually is. I have never felt an ounce of stress about my accounting in terms of keeping up with my records and stuff like that over the past year, and a lot of that is coming to me actually staying ahead of the game. It's not something that we like doing, but it is all part of running your own business. So definitely tip number 5 is to make sure you just set aside maybe 1 or 2 hours every single week just to keep up with your accounts. Okay, so the final tip, and this one may be a little bit cliche, and it's probably my number 1 tip about accounting, especially for e-commerce, and that is hire an accountant. Now, the reason why I say this is that I have cheaped out on accountants. I've tried to avoid them, and it really doesn't work out in the end. Now, I know accountants are expensive. I know it's money that you want to be spending on growing your business, but please trust me on this one, guys. When you hire an accountant and you're paying maybe monthly or yearly, you will save so much more money over the long run than if you were to try and do it yourself, and you will of course save a lot of stress. I know people out there that have completely stopped their business. They haven't had the desire to grow their business. The big thing in the UK is pushing through the VAT threshold at £85,000, and people have stopped doing that simply because they just don't understand it, and having an accountant will really help you get past that level and actually grow your business to the place you want it to be. Now, I guess you're probably going to want to know, what accountant do I personally use for my business? Now, since I started my e-commerce business, I've been through 3 different accountants. 2 of them was an e-commerce specialist, and they completely overwhelmed me with information. Every time I went for a meeting with them, I walked away more confused, which is obviously the complete opposite of hiring an accountant in the first place. But now I think I have found the right accountant for me. These guys are an online e-commerce specialist, and their name is Osome Accounting. Now, what I do have is I do have an affiliate link for those guys. I will throw some images of their website up, but basically if you were to go through this affiliate link, If you were to go through the monthly package, I can get you £100 off in your first month. And if you were to go for the smaller package, which is an annual fee, I believe it's £50 off. All you need to do is click the link in the description below. I believe it's www.christosfellas.com/Osome. Give them a check out. I believe they do a free consultation for your business and stuff like that, but they're basically the accountants that I've been using. The reason why I really like them, the number one thing is that they take care of pretty much all of the tips that I have just mentioned, so I don't actually have to do them anymore, and all I have to focus on is uploading my receipts to their software and the odd meeting from time to time with them. So they're a really good accountant, and yeah, feel free to check them out if you wish. But having said all that, guys, they are 6 tips that you can take forward with your Amazon or your eBay or any kind of e-commerce business going forward in the future. Make sure you take them on and you will definitely save a lot of time and a lot of stress. If you got some value from this video, make sure you hit the like button down below. Of course, subscribe to the channel down below. And question of the day, what accounting software do you use for your e-commerce business, or do you use one at all? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.